Oh, so one question I get a lot too is, can I use homemade vinegar for canning? Because people are really confused because so many people are saying, no, you absolutely cannot use your homemade vinegar for canning because it's not acidic enough. Well, that's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's not, but if you are making sure your vinegar has enough sugar so it's more acidic, letting it fully finish into becoming vinegar and not stopping the process when it's only halfway there. And then you test it with some test strips to see what the pH is. And you know that you're getting a pH, especially if it's a pH of 2.5 to 3. But yeah, you get your pH strip, you check for that pH of 2.5 to 3, then you're going to have at least a 5% acidity. When you go buy vinegar at the store, what acidity are you typically looking for that you're using when you go to can, pickle things? It's usually 5%. That's all you got to do is just figure out basically what your acidity is. And you know what? If you feel like maybe it's a little low, a little weak, add more. That's how I look at it. We just stumbled across this channel. It's really cool. It's called Medieval something. And it has all these different videos. There's so many more I want to watch because we just found it, about what they did in medieval time, the peasants, what they did to preserve food, what they did to stay warm, all these different things. And they're so interesting. And they talked about, like, I just watched one, it's like one of their newest videos where they talked about the salt curing. Like I just mentioned, it talks about how they would salt cure fish and other types of meat, and the drying, just using the sun and the air to dry meat. They even showed some of the similar pictures of the fish. They'd like open the fish up, cut the heads off and then hang them to dry, especially in the Nordic countries. And that's how they preserve their meats. And anyway, it also covered the vinegar and the fermenting and some of that stuff. And there wasn't all this big. They didn't have pH strips. They didn't have all this stuff to, perfectly get to know exactly what that vinegar was. They just did it. They just did this stuff. They didn't even understand all the science behind it. They just knew it worked. And so that's why I think that there's, people who say the only proper way to dry meat and preserve it for a long time is to freeze dry it. Wrong. You can do that. But what about people that have been drying meat for thousands of years? To get them through hard times, or just even to just get them through the winter, or through the times of the year where meat wasn't easily available. I'm not saying we shouldn't be careful and that we shouldn't follow some basic guidelines. Yes, Rita, Medieval Times Discovered. I think that is the name of it. Very interesting stuff in there. It's just, and it's like, there you go. Some of the stuff they were saying is some of the same stuff I've been preaching at people about. And I'm like, I've just been validated. It was pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, as long as you got a pH of at least 2.5 to 3.5, it should be good for canning. And like I said, or, for pickling. And like I said, just increase the vinegar to water ratio if you're concerned. But this is the one that, it's the question that no one's asked me. I got to thinking about why I grow sunflowers. Now, you would assume that people all grow sunflowers either A, because they're pretty, or B, because they want the sunflower seeds. Well, that's two of the reasons why I grow sunflowers. But I don't grow the sunflowers for the seeds for the sake of me collecting and roasting. Though maybe someday I'll do that, but for what I can get, like especially black oil sunflower seeds, for the price I can get those for my chickens, or even pre-roasted salted organic sunflower seeds from Azure Standard, it's not really worth it to me to use up all of my gardening space just for that. So why do I grow sunflowers? Well, one is I do love the pop of color they add to the garden. The sunflowers have that added benefit of growing tall and catching the attention of your honeybees. And then that draws them into the garden. Then they find the borage and the echinacea. And if I've got anise hyssop growing, which is always a touch and go thing with anise hyssop for some reason, and the lamb's ear, the woolly lamb's ear, and the comfrey, and they're all over everything. So you're drawing the bees in, and then they're getting to your squash flowers and pollinating your pumpkins and your cucumbers and your whatnots. So you've got that benefit with the sunflowers of catching the attention of the bees because they're tall and they're bright. And then for me, I like what I like to do with the seeds is I do save the seeds. I do take the seeds off of them, and I use them for two things. I don't roast them. I don't eat them because I have a lot of, the Azure standard organic roasted salted sunflower seeds stored up. But I do feed a bunch of them to the chickens and save a bunch to turn around and sell. So that is some of the seeds that I sell. I haven't been selling the chocolate cherry ones, but I have a few left that I might add to the list. I need to see how much I actually have, and then maybe I'll get those added to the list. But if I don't do that before fall, I'll definitely do it after fall when I know that I've got plenty more, because they're beautiful. They're this deep burgundy color. Here's the frustrating thing about the sunflowers is I do have to cut them as soon as the stellar jays start coming around, because they will eat every seed out of the flower. So I got to watch them. So once the flower head starts drooping, it's fully open and full, and then it starts to droop, it's time to cut it. If you don't do it, then your blue jays, your stellar jays, or whatever jays, other birds will come eat all the seeds out of your flower. It's so irritating. And one year, it was one of those crazy years, and I kept forgetting to go out there and cut my sunflowers. And the stellar jays, I don't know if you know what a stellar jay is. Around here, a lot of people call them blue jays. I still do, because they're blue and they're the one with the little, like the cardinals have, the little point at the top of their head. They're beautiful birds, but they're so flippin' annoying, those things, and they're mean. So they're called a stellar jay. And that one year, they ate all of the seeds out of my sunflowers. Then those little jerks had the nerve to come up to my sliding glass door and sit on we have a little stand thing there that we put the firewood in. It's sitting right next to the sliding glass door. So it was sitting on there, and it was knocking on the glass door like, "Hey, you're out of sunflower seeds, woman. Get out here and get me some more sunflower seeds." I'm like, "Get out of here, jerk." Irritating. It's a funny story, though. It makes me laugh.